Hey guys, Trevy the Great here again with another 40K battle report after long last. Sorry I haven't been getting these reports out to you guys. As you may or may not know, I've just moved into college, gotten all settled into my dorm room and to the routine of classes, so I haven't really had a lot of time to play games. I've been looking around for some game stores and things. There is a gaming club on campus, but it isn't that big. And there's a couple gaming stores about a half hour, 45 minutes away, and they play a lot of like War Machine and Malifaux, not a lot of 40K. So I don't know how many games of Warhammer Fantasy 40K I'll be able to get in, although hopefully I'll be able to do a lot of War Machine and things like that. So I'll be able to get some reports out to you guys, not as regularly as I have been, but better than nothing. So this game is a 2,000 point game at my the campus game club here on campus. The first meeting of the game club was this past Saturday, and unfortunately there weren't that many people there. There are a few 40K players on campus, but there's so many other things going on because it's the beginning of the year that not many of them were able to make it down to this meeting, unfortunately. So it was just me and a couple other guys, and I did play some good games, and this was the best of them. This is 2,000 points, Blood Angels versus Black Templars. I'm running my normal Blood Angels list, which, if you don't know what it is 3 assault squads with jump packs, with power weapons on the sergeants, with melta gun and a flamer. I have a Storm Raven gunship with hurricane bolters, extra armor. It's got the last cannon multi-melta combo, and a locator beacon to drop some guys in within 6 inches of it without scattering. That's carrying a unit of Sanguinary Guard with a chapter banner and a dreadnought. And then I have a unit of 5 Vanguard veterans, and I also have 4 Sanguinary Priests. 3 of them generally go with my 3 assault squads, and 1 of them goes with the Sanguinary Guard. And then it's all being led by the Sanguinor, and I'm pretty sure that's the whole thing, yeah. So the list I'm up against right now is a really shooty Black Templars list, pretty scary. He's got 2 dreadnoughts, one with last cannon and missile launcher, one with assault cannon and dreadnought close combat weapon. He's got, I believe, 3 crusade squads. One of them's on foot, 2 are in rhinos. He's got a unit of sword brethren with the furious charge rule in a razorback, and he's got 2 predator destructors with the autocannon turret. And then one of his crusade squads, I forgot to mention, has a plasma cannon. And then he's got Chaplain Grimaldus. He's got a marshal with a power sword, I think. And then he has the Emperor's Champion, obviously, because it is Black Templars army, who has the accept any challenge no matter the costs vow, which I believe gives the whole army a preferred enemy, which is pretty nasty for me. And yeah, so just a note, this is like I said, at my local game club. There's a lot of really casual players here, so it's not going to be the greatest game ever. Obviously, I made some probably poor tactical decisions just to make the game more enjoyable for both of us. There was a point that I'll point out later on that I could have literally just turtled up in a corner and won the game, but I decided to go all out and attack just to make it more fun. And to make it not, a boring game, because some games you get to the end of the game and it just breaks down and nobody's really having a good time. So the scenario is Seize Ground, Dawn of War. You can sort of see 2 of the objectives there in the center of the board, one between the 2 craters in the middle, one between the 2 ruined buildings. And then there is another objective in that ruined building in the sort of top left-hand corner, and then even above that, you can't really see it, there's another ruin, and that has another objective in it. So there are 4 objectives, and the deployment type is Dawn of War. Now, I won the roll-off to go first. I decided to keep everything behind, and I'll just move it on first, on my first turn, just to keep my opponent guessing. But my opponent deployed 1 Rhino with a Crusade Squad and his Marshal in the center of the board, and then he won the roll to seize the initiative. So that's actually great for me, because what I'll be able to do is just move on to the board and completely deny him a turn of shooting, which is excellent. So yeah, we're going to go on to the beginning of turn 1, and we're going to see how that goes. Okay, here's a photo of turn 1. Obviously, almost everything's come onto the board. I still have kept the Sanguinor and my Vanguard veterans in reserve, hopefully to drop in within 6 inches of that Storm Raven and be able to get the charge off with the boost from Sanguinor and be able to kill some stuff. But I've brought my Storm Raven in, that's turbo boosted to the center of the board on the left-hand flank there, and then all my assault squads have jumped up and tried to hug these craters and tried to take get as much cover as possible from the a lot of anti-armor shooting is going to be coming at me pretty soon. So my opponent moved everything in before me because obviously he stole the initiative, took the first turn, and he didn't have any. He couldn't fire at anything, so his basically first turn was wasted. It was just positioning his troops. As you can see there, he's got the Predator on each flank. He's got rhinos and troop squads in the middle. And then he's got a Dreadnought on each flank as well. Now, in my turn, my Storm Raven turbo boosted, obviously, and then used Power of the Machine Spirit to take a pot shot with its last cannon at my opponent's Dreadnought on my left-hand flank, the one with the last cannon missile launcher, which was going to be really nasty and be able to take out my Storm Raven pretty quickly if it rolled well enough. But I was able to roll really well, destroyed it on turn 1, which was excellent because that took out a lot of my opponent's anti-tank firepower. And is going to allow that Storm Raven to zoom around the board and hopefully contest some objectives later on. So other than that, not a heck of a lot happened. So we're going to go on ahead to turn 2. All right, this is the end of turn 2. Lots of stuff went down. In my opponent's turn, he had a lucky shot with a plasma cannon, and that was able to take out my Storm Raven right then and there. Just wrecked it immediately. I believe he got an immobilized result, but because I had turbo boosted, that wrecked the vehicle and forced my squads to disembark from it. So other than that, he took some shooting at my troops, but I don't think he did any damage besides taking out 1 or 2 assault marines. And then in my turn, I was able to roll really well for reserves. Actually, not too well because I sort of wanted to keep my reserves back a little bit. But both of my reserve units came in, being the Sanguinor and the Vanguard veterans. The Vanguard veterans dropped in next to that Crusade squad, sort of in the center of the board there, the top right-hand corner of the photo, and they were able to assault immediately, and well, in the assault phase, obviously. And I believe the combat was a tie, but all I'm doing is keeping that unit from shooting at me, which is all I really need to do. Other than that, the Sanguinor dropped in the middle there to try to give some buffs to my my assault squads, which are all sort of clustered around that big building to get some cover saves. And then the troops from that came out of the Storm Raven were able to assault the 2 vehicles in the left-hand flank, the left-hand corner of the board there. The Dreadnought went in and fired at the Rhino that's there with the Crusade squad in it. He didn't do anything with his multi-melta, but I believe he shook and stunned it with his close combat weapon. So he's going to be stuck in combat for a little while trying to take that out. While my Sanguinary Guard with their Sanguinary Priest assaulted my opponent's Predator, were able to destroy it pretty easily because they are Strength 5 in the assault, which is really good for them. And striking rear armor of 10 is pretty much wrecks those vehicles pretty quickly. So yeah, that's the end of turn 2. We're going to go to turn 3, see how it goes. Okay, so this is the middle of turn 3, but I figured this picture was so epic I had to take it and use it anyway. This is my troops gearing up for an assault on my opponent's troop choices in there. In my opponent's turn, he basically did some shuffling around. He moved up with his Dreadnought and I believe his Predator over on my right-hand flank. It's all off the picture, unfortunately. But he bailed out of his transport with his last remaining Crusade squad that isn't about to be assaulted anyway. With Chaplain Grimaldus, and they were able to do some shooting. I think they took down 1 or 2 assault marines, but not a heck of a lot. And then it was my turn, and so here, as you can see, the Rhino in the center there has been destroyed by a Meltagun, which forced the Crusade squad and the Marshal with them to disembark, and then that will allow me to assault them with the Sanguinor and 2 assault squads. Will probably wipe them out pretty easily because they do have Sanguinary Priests, and the Sanguinor is there to give them an extra attack. And then the Vanguard veterans are in combat with that other Crusade squad on the right there. And they're pretty much tying the Crusade squad up and preventing it from shooting, but they aren't doing a lot of casualties. So the Sanguinary Guard are within range to assault this turn. They're going to assault in. And I believe both squads wipe out their intended opponents. So all of those units get killed pretty handily, which is going to allow me to basically just sweep this flank. My opponent only has 2 troops choices left. One is stuck in an immobilized vehicle because of my Dreadnought, and then the other one is with Chaplain Grimaldus and is probably too slow to get anywhere. So I'm really in a good position right now, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, here's the end of turn 4. This is getting pretty crazy, pretty confusing. Um, a couple things I forgot to mention last turn was that my opponent did deep strike in a unit of 3 land speeders, and they were able to take some shots. I think they might have killed 1 or 2 Marines with those, and other than that, didn't really do much. And the other thing was that I moved one of my assault squads that had been depleted by shooting up to take a melta gun shot at my opponent's dreadnought there on the right-hand side of the picture. Now, of course, they missed the melta-gun shot because I think every time Assault Marine actually needs to hit something to save his life, then he will miss. So I think the nerves get to their heads and throw them off or something like that. But I decided to assault the Dreadnought rather than be assaulted, which was going to happen next turn, just to mitigate some of the attacks coming at me. And threw crack grenades and wasn't able to do any damage, unfortunately. So now they're stuck in combat with the Dreadnought. And in my opponent's turn 4, he moved that Razor back up and then unloaded the Sword Brethren, which were in it. And the Sword Brethren were able to assault the unit and almost wipe it out. I think there were still a Assault Marine with a Flamer and the Sanguinary Priest left in that squad. So they almost killed the entire squad, but not quite. And then in my turn, my Sanguinary Guard were able to move up and counter-assault the Sword Brother and wipe them out pretty handily. So that was good for me. In other news, the Emperor's Champion moved up and assaulted my Vanguard veterans, wiped them out really quickly. There were only 3 Vanguard veterans left, so he didn't really have much trouble doing that. And then Chaplain Grimaldus and his little Crusade squad moved up and took some shots, but I don't think they did anything. Then in my turn, I decided, this was the point that I mentioned earlier, where I could have easily moved off from this from this engagement because my troops are faster and because I have feel no pain, things like that to protect me from shooting. I could move back and take the 2 objectives in my backfield and easily win the game because my opponent only has, I believe, 1 or 2 troops choices left. And then I can use my elite beatstick units like the Sanguinor and like my Sanguinary Guard to try to take those out and then just win the game on 1 or 2 objectives. But I decided that this was not, this was a friendly game and I was going to make it as cool as possible and keep fighting till the end. So I decided to go balls to the wall, all out, and just attack everything. So what I did was I moved up an assault squad to attack the land speeders. Now they need 6s to hit, but they only need 5s to glance. But I rolled really terribly on the glancing rolls. I think I only took out a weapon, possibly an assault cannon or melty melta or something like that. So not very good. The Sanguinor moved up and attacked Grimaldus and his assault squad. Now Grimaldus was the Sanguinor's chosen opponent. Forget what they call it. It's challenge or something like that. And which means the Sanguinor gets to reroll hits and wounds against him. But I didn't attack Grimaldus with this turn. I just wiped out his troops choice, so he didn't have that additional troops choice. And I'll kill off Grimaldus next turn. Other than that, I moved 1 assault squad back to start taking objectives, and then my Dreadnought I think was finally able to destroy the Rhino in the right-hand corner, which it has been attacking since turn 2, and then I believe just sort of looked at the Crusade squad that bailed out of it and like, oh, there's another troops choice there. That's great. So yeah, that's the end of turn 4. Let's go to turn 5, and I believe the end of the game. Okay, this is going to be the last photo of the game because I forgot to take a picture of the last turn. This is not actually the last turn. This is turn 5. We did go to turn 6. So yeah, my opponent's turn was pretty uneventful. I think we just mopped up some combats. He did deep strike in a unit of assault marines in the back corner. I think they're off the photo right now. That were very close to my Dreadnought. So in my turn, the Dreadnought was able to assault the assault marines so that they weren't able to contest my objectives, and which basically gave him an objective because he did have a Crusade squad over there in range to capture the objective. But I wasn't really worried about that because I pretty much had 2 objectives under control right now. As you can see, that objective in the center of the photo is being taken by my my assault marines, but the land speeders are too far away to be able to take it, and then the other squad is just about to take that objective over on the left-hand side. So turn 5, the Sanguinor killed Grimaldus in my opponent's turn, and then Grimaldus actually failed his leadership test, so he actually died. He didn't just pretend to be dead and then get up later. And then the Sanguinor turned around and in my turn assaulted the land speeders, although he rolled terribly, and I think he took out one with an immobilized result because they are a squadron. For some reason, my opponent didn't move his land speeders. I think he might have forgotten that you can move vehicles even though they're engaged in combat because it's not a walker and doesn't have an attacks value. But I don't know what was going on there. Maybe he was just trying to tie me up. So I was able to do a little bit more damage to the land speeders, not enough to do much. I was rolling really badly on the glancing rolls. So yeah, there you go. And then my Sanguinary Guard continued to throw grenades at the Dreadnought. Turns out they had a lot of grenades. Good thing they brought extra apparently. And but they weren't able to do anything, which really isn't a problem because the Dreadnought can kill them as long as it wants, but because they can't capture objectives. So whatever. Yeah, so that was turn 5 and 6. Turn 6, I believe my Dreadnought just assaulted the Assault Marines and were able to tie them up. Then the Assault Squad on the left-hand side there moved on to that objective, and I was able to do a little bit more damage to the land speeders, which gave me that objective in the center, which gave me a pretty solid win of 2 objectives to 1, which was awesome. Yay! Yeah, so that's the end of the game there. Obviously, it was a good game. First game of 40K I played in weeks, which was awesome. Great to play 40K after a little while. My opponent said he had a great time. It was one of the few games he'd played all the way through without being crunched for time, and then having a really good time doing it, which was good to hear. Very gratifying to hear that my opponent also had as good a time as I did, even though I won the game. Yeah, and other than that, there it is. Like I said, I don't think I'll be playing 40K as much as I previously have, just because I don't have the time or the resources to be able to do it very often. There's not a heck of a lot of game stores or clubs around here. There's only a couple of people who play 40K on campus, but I'll see what I can do to get some reports out to you. I will be playing a lot more War Machine though. Like I said, there is a store that plays a lot of War Machine about 45 minutes away from me, so I'll be making it down there once every couple of weeks and playing some games. If you have been following my blog, I started a new Signar army, so I'll be learning how to play that and just trying to get the hang of it. I did play one game over the weekend that I unfortunately failed to take pictures of, even though it turned out to be an awesome game against a Retribution player. And I had my little Prime Cane there. Just at the end of the game, I almost lost all my jacks, lost almost all my units, and Kane just went in, basically ran into the middle of the enemy army, popped his feet, which lets him shoot everyone in his control range, killed half of the enemy army right there, and was able to open up a firing lane onto my opponent's Warcaster and just killed her with 2 shots. It was pretty epic, to be honest. So I really wish I'd reported that game, and I really feel bad that I didn't take any pictures. So I guess you guys will be waiting a little while for another report. So very sorry about that again, but stay tuned because I will be doing more battle reports as soon as I can. Trevy the Great out.